Alright, yeah, hi, it's Ftrhstry. This is Kingdangerously in the Time Vortex, coming at you from the 2120s to talk about the 2020s. How adorable. We got a fun one today. We're going to do laser lightning rods. A little bit of an interesting scientific project going on in Switzerland that I thought you might want to know about. Happening at the top of a beautiful mountain called Mount Santis. Santis is one of the lightningest spots in Europe. Lightningest, and it's also a beautiful feature of the Alps. It's about 2,500 meters tall, and it cuts an imposing figure. Plus, it's got an observational deck at the top, and it's got a big, tall lightning observatory telecommunications array that goes up about 120-ish meters. 390 feet tall telecoms tower. So that's the basis for this laser lightning rod experiment, which uses a 6-ton, 27-foot machine to generate intense pulses that go up into the atmosphere at about 1,000 times a second and generate a sort of a pathway for the lightning, an inviting ionized laser filament, that's what they call it, which creates a preferential path, drawing the lightning down from where it was headed and hitting safely on the ground or wherever we want. And the initial idea, the way this is working, is they're sort of sparking upward facing lightning from the telecommunications array, which draws the downward facing lightning. And this is a good spot to do it, apparently, because as I said, it's very lightning-y, and in the first 9 months of this lightning measurement operation, they measured 50 lightning strikes and I believe 7 positive lightning strikes, which is a thing you may not know about with regards to lightning. Kingdangerously Prime just learned in learning about these lasers, and the deal there is most lightning is negative and about 5% of lightning strikes are positive, which means the electrons travel upward from the ground into the clouds as opposed to down from the clouds into the ground, and these positive strikes are actually much more powerful than the negative version. So what's interesting about that in the long run is that these lightning bolts can be potentially harvested for energy storage and use later on. So not just ameliorating the human and property toll of lightning, which runs about in the property side around €1 billion a year, and in the life side, numbers are a little fuzzy, but probably in the thousands, like several thousand people in the historic 2020s die every year from lightning strikes. And although 80% of people survive being struck by lightning, they tend to have long-term problems because it does fun things like burn holes in their brain cells. It's not a pleasant experience. I don't recommend it. Thrill seekers, beware. Back off. I know you want to. I know you're curious, but wait until you've got one of those sick-ass Tesla bot bodies in 100 years. What else have I got to tell you? The Electromagnetic Compatibility Lab is the fancy name of the lightning measurement operation at the top of Mount Santis. Mount Santis is named for an old Romansh word meaning born on a Sunday. And in 1922, it was the site of a miserable murder. Yeah, shouldn't say that so scandalously. It was a lightning keeper and his wife found killed when their weather reports went missing. The suspect killed himself some 3 weeks later, so the murder was never resolved. So it's got a bit of pathos, this lightning location, worth some research, some checking into, and worth some investigating, because this technology of laser lightning rods is in its infancy in the 2020s, and it's just about to begin getting really interesting, not just as a protective measure, but as I said, as a harvesting measure. So skipping ahead into the future and talking about where this technology is going, the big picture of the next 100 years WRT weather, that's just with regards to, it's not fancy, is we're going to move from a reporting and amelioration paradigm toward a harvesting and control paradigm. And that means, obviously you're going to go from hearing weather reports and battened down the hedges to noticing that storms are coming, harvesting the wind and some cases lightning from these storms, or even collecting the water, like, rainwater collection systems do exist. So that's sort of an early technological version of what this will be later. And then ultimately full-on control of this weather. So in the 2120s, where I'm from, the storms are rarely a very big deal. They're sort of handled proactively, like they're reported off the coast, and then swarms of robot the drone swarms could be called dwarms, head into the storms and harvest some of the energy. Probably, tech on land and in the sea can help drain some of the force from the winds and the electro power of the lightning bolts, positive especially, obviously, since they're so cool. And they'll just sort of cool the whole thing down. Of course, there are parts of the world and times in life when it's not possible to fully control a storm, and bad things do still happen. But in general, the story of the 2120s is that storms are handled before they become serious. So the positive side of that is there's much less damage and death. The negative side is you lose a bit of the excitement. And I suppose the philosophical bone to chew here is that that's a fundamental trade-off in life. As you move toward a place of greater competence, you sacrifice some of the invigorating chaos that makes it exciting to experience phenomena that are bigger than your ability to control. I think that's a reasonable place to leave it. I think a place for you to follow this on might be electromechanical engineering, or just lightning hunting, or perhaps visiting the Swiss Alps. That sounds fun. Maybe I'll see you there in the future. Be good to yourself and others. But, start with you. And even the things around you. I'm going to go be good to the vortex and let it have a rest. Ftrhstry out.